All right, guys, welcome to Take Your Base. I'm your host, Flavo Rihanna, brought to you by Four Corner Sports. All right, guys, so big series that we just ended up having against the Nationals. Nationals came into town. It was a 3-game series this past weekend, and it didn't work well for us in Game 1. Game 1, we ended up losing Espino having a career high in strikeouts, striking out 7, all right? And Paulo Espino looked like an ace against the Mets, and which is not hard at all because of the fact that the Mets offense stinks. They flat out stink. They can't generate any type of runs. They leave a lot of runners on base, and it starts to add up, right? And I'm thinking, man, oh man, why can't the Mets just do something productive for once, all right? Javy Baez was the only one that ended up giving the Mets a serious chance with a home run, and that was the only run of the ball game. And it just seems like frustration after frustration after frustration kept on getting built on. And guys, I'm going to talk about the frustration with the players and the fans. You guys know what I'm going to lead with that. And Dick Mountain, Rich Hill got the loss. He is 6-6 with an ERA over 4, and Paulo Espino looked like Tom Seaver pitching against the Mets, striking out 7, having a phenomenal game, right? And look, guys, this is the Nationals who are trying to lose games. They're not trying to be in contention of anything whatsoever. And this was a game that was handed to the Mets on a dish, right? Because they got 3 games with the Nationals that just passed, right? I believe they have four games, if I'm not mistaken, against the Marlins, and then 5 games against the Nationals next weekend. So the Mets needed to do something, but Paulo Espino improved to 4-4 with a 4.13 ERA. Rich Hill, ended up going to a 6-6 record with a 4.11 ERA, and then Finnegan ended up getting his 6th save of the year. But yeah, it was not really much to talk about with Game 1. It was a very it was a very disappointing game. Too many strikeouts on the Mets, too many guys being left on base, and not producing enough hits in very crucial moments. But going into Game 2, all right, that was the game. That was the game where we got to see a little bit of everything. Where, all right, we had, I believe, man, I'm trying to figure out who exactly. Give me 1 second, guys. Dumb app. Yeah, that was the game that Marcus Stroman ended up pitching, right? For a second, I'm thinking that he pitched yesterday. That was the game that Marcus Stroman ended up pitching, and he looked good. Outside of Jacob deGrom, Marcus Stroman has become one of our best pitchers, one of the most important pitchers, because of the fact that we haven't had Noah Syndergaard. Carlos Carrasco, if we had a healthy roster, he would not be pitching right now. He'll be rehabbing, all right? But we have Carlos Carrasco that's pitching. We haven't seen Noah Syndergaard pitch at all this year. And Taijuan Walker has been our third best starter. But I don't know where we would be without Marcus Stroman, because Marcus Stroman was just wheeling and dealing. This guy gave 6 innings, allowed 2 runs, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. Was able to dip his ERA down to 2.85. And this guy's phenomenal, guys. He is phenomenal. And I wonder, man, I was talking a lot of smack, earlier this year about the qualifying offer that he ended up signing, because he knew that he wasn't going to get that type of money anywhere else. But I don't know where this Mets team would be. I understand he has a 9-12 record, but look at the ERA. Had over 151 innings pitched this year. All right, completed 1,000 innings in his career. He reached 1,000 inning marks on point. Right. He has now officially 1,000 innings in his career. That is phenomenal stuff. Yes, he is not a strikeout pitcher. He's a ground ball pitcher. He has 134 strikeouts with a WHIP of 1.12, which is fairly good. It's not bad, but it's decent. Especially with the fact with this Mets team, you had to apply so much pressure on these pitchers to get everything right. Because if not, this Mets team's not going to get it done. But the offense, guys, finally woke up. Yes, it's against a bad Nationals team, but we had a very important sighting of a pinch hit home run by Michael Conforto, that was the very first time in his MLB career where he had a pinch hit home run, and it was a very crucial one. It came in a very important time where it was on the 7th inning, I believe, where he ended up hitting that 3-run jack, and that gave the Mets the lead. Yeah, guys, the Mets, they ended up, capitalizing on the moment. We had home runs by, I believe, it was Jonathan Villar, Michael Conforto. We had, what's it called? Yeah, Villar, Conforto, doubles by Villar. Got his 14th double of the year. And yeah, guys, great stuff by the Mets. Javy Baez as well, contributed. Francisco Lindor, all right, and everybody was doing this, right? Thumbs down, thumbs down. Now, I'll get to that in just a second. Just remember that I ended up doing that. That was a big notion this weekend. Anytime you get a hit, thumbs down, right? So that was for Saturday, right? Edwin Diaz picks up his 26th save. Trevor May improves to 6-2 with a 3.86 ERA. Needs to dip that lower. Needs to dip that below 3. All right, that's just my personal preference. I like Trevor May, good guy. But for Sunday, Tyler McGill, who has been struggling as of late, has been coming into facing the Dodgers and the Giants. McGill, finally gets a breather. He's facing a team that he should be able to dominate, and did phenomenal. All right, Tyler McGill is becoming one of the players, one of the pitchers that I'm most looking forward to for next year, because I don't know, I just don't see the Mets, going deep, making a huge run as they should be able to beat up on these teams that they need to. But Tyler McGill seems like one of those guys that we need to start looking at for next year, because this kid has some serious stuff. 5 innings, gave up 1 hit, 2 runs. Yes, he needs to get better control of the walks. Gave up 3 walks, had 5 strikeouts, but that 1 hit was that 1 home run, and that was it. Now, it was nothing more else to that. The home run coming off of Josh Bell. Like I said, guys, Bell and Soto, those are the only 2 power threats, the only 2 real threats in this Washington Nationals lineup. And McGill made 1 mistake, and that's it. Yes, he has to get better of his control, but pitched a phenomenal game and ended up improving to 2-3. Got his 2nd win of his major league career. Was able to lower that ERA to now a 4.04. At one point, he was at a 1.98, if I'm not mistaken. Ended up jumping up because having bad outings against the Giants and the Dodgers, which is very well expected. And, his confidence ended up dropping a little bit. But I'm sure now that he ended up getting that 2nd win, his confidence is going to end up rising against the Nationals, because the Mets need to beat up on the teams that are below them just to give themselves a better opportunity on getting back into contention to at least grab the NL East title. All right. And there was a lot of talks. I mean, the Mets ended up going big in this game, winning 9-4, right? But even though the Mets ended up racking up 11 hits, right? Getting RBIs by Lindor, VR, Javy Baez, right? Home runs by Baez, his 26th of the year, VR, and RBIs by Pete Alonso, his 76, Javy Baez, his 72nd, Francisco Lindor drove in 2, his 38th. We had Jonathan VR driving in 2, his 34th RBIs of the year. But remember when I said that, they were doing this? After a big double, after a big single, after a home run, this was a celebration. And then after the game was over, a reporter, I can't remember off the top of my head who it was, they ended up asking Javy Baez, what is the purpose of you guys going like this, the thumbs down celebration? And then Javy Baez did what no player is supposed to be doing. Even though they think of it, they shouldn't be speaking it into existence. He ended up, spilling the beans. He said that, it's a thumbs down to the fans because of the fact that, they keep on booing us. They have to understand that we're going to struggle. We're going to struggle 7 times out of 10, and we're not machines. And that, he plays his games for the fans, and them booing, the fans booing at the fans booing at the players, it's really not going to help our situations, and that was that. I'm just saying it off the top of my head. I can't remember the words word for word, but it was something around that ballpark. For me, personally, after hearing all that, and it went very viral on Twitter, I don't mind it. I really don't mind it. Whatever makes you guys tick, and if it means that you have to keep on doing this to get yourself to win ball games, I'm all for it. I'm not usually out in the stands booing like crazy, making a mockery of myself and stuff like that. And I'm not really judging those that do. But my personal take of, fans booing because, the Mets are doing like this, fans are able to do whatever they want for the most part, outside of running onto the field or throwing stuff or making vulgar comments, towards players. Fans have the right to at least boo, and they pay their ticket just to do that. And this is New York. Javy, I know that you came from the Cubs. I know things are a lot different in Chicago compared to New York. New York, they're very passionate about their baseball teams, all right? Yankee fans are passionate about the Yankees. Met fans are passionate about the Mets. When you go into Citi Field, you already know that you're going to have Met fans who are starving for a title, starving for a championship. And the fact that this Mets team ended up surrendering the NL East lead, right? After having it for months and then losing it again in their series against the Philadelphia Phillies, it hurts a lot. And it hurts a lot to see a team that fans, many of them, they're lifelong fans. They're very invested into this team. And for Javy Baez to be easily offended by that, it just shows that, hey, you know what? Maybe he's not very well integrated with the fans and doesn't understand them. And it doesn't look good that Lindor, was echoing those sentiments too. All right? Javy and Lindor, they're very close to one another. And it just looks a little bit worse on Lindor because of the fact that he's going to be here for the next 10 years. Mind you guys, that contract, that 10-year contract, $340 million contract that he signed this past offseason, that doesn't kick in until next year in 2022. So I know Steve Cohen was pissed off. He says that the players ended up hitting the third rail by attacking the fans. And I understand why Steve Cohen is saying that, because the fans is the lifeline. They're the bloodline that allows these players to get paid as much as they want to get paid, and just to entertain us fans, okay? And Steve Cohen has every right to be upset with the players, but Javy Baez made a terrible mistake about speaking that into existence, being very honest about it. Me personally, I would have kept that to myself, whether how I feel about it or not. But yeah, guys, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen with Javy Baez. Are the Mets gonna keep him? I imagine they need to keep him because of the fact they ended up giving a first round draft pick, Pete Crow Armstrong, to the Chicago Cubs. That's too much of a trade right there. But who knows what's gonna happen? The Mets have a day off today. They're gonna be facing the Miami Marlins. And yeah, guys, I mean, Marlins coming to town tomorrow. There's 2 games tomorrow. One of those games was suspended due to rain, and then the other game, I believe, is a 7-inning game, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen with Javy Baez. I don't know what Steve Cohen said to the team. I know Sandy Alderson said something, said that you shouldn't be doing that type of stuff. That fans, Met fans are very honest and they're very passionate people, something along those lines. But this is always something going on with the New York Mets. There's always something with the Mets. It's always something about with headlines, and we're never putting ourselves in the right direction to winning ball games. Look, the Yankees earlier this year, it looked like they had not even a chance to make the playoffs, and now they look like they're World Series contenders. So it's possible for the Mets to make a turnaround, but it starts tomorrow. It starts really tomorrow night with the Mets facing the Marlins for 2 games, and then follow that by an extra 2 more games, and then you have to face the Nationals in a rare 5-game series, and that's only because of the fact that there's a doubleheader, I believe, in that Saturday game. But yeah, guys, I don't really know what's gonna happen. I highly doubt that we see the Mets keep on doing the thumbs down. If we do, Obviously, nothing that that ownership said or the president of the team said was very impactful for them to stop doing that. But yeah, who knows? Have the Met players turned on the fans? And if so, what's it called? How are the fans going to react come tomorrow night? Just a question, just to leave it out there for you guys to marinate on. So then, guys, I'm your host, Flavo Rihanna, and thank you for tuning in to Take Your Base. Please hit that like and subscribe button, guys, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace, guys. All right, and let me know what you guys think. And most importantly, let's go Mets. Peace.